Hey, what's up YouTube? Brian Fagioli here, and today I'm taking a look at a product from ORICO. This is the NVMe M.2 SSD enclosure. It is a USB Type-C enclosure, has a USB Type-C port there. It accommodates M.2 NVMe drives, PCI Express drives. It is made out of aluminum. It says here it uses Type-C as well as UASP connection, 10 gigabits per second. This uses USB 3.1 Gen 2. So let's take a look here. Okay, so it takes an NVMe M.2 SSD. The product name is PCM2-C3. It's made out of aluminum alloy. The color is silver. Output interface, USB 3.1 Type-C. It says scheme. I think that is the chipset. Let's see, JMS 583. I don't know why it says scheme, but 10 gigabits per second. Transmission speed, 10 gigabits per second. Capacity, 2 terabytes max. Installation, screw fixing. And it actually supports Windows, Mac, and Linux. And, you know, it's cool. Obviously, it supports Linux. There's no reason why, Linux can't accommodate an external USB drive. But it's cool that they actually list Linux on the box. A lot of companies don't. Otherwise, the package is pretty straightforward here. I looked up what this is, PICC. It says USD like $300,000. PICC apparently is the People's Insurance Company of China. So I think, don't quote me on this. Maybe there's more inside the box. I think what this is saying is that potentially if you lose data or something goes wrong, this is insured by that insurance company in China. I think. Don't quote me on that. Let's find out. So the box is shrink wrapped. I have a knife. So let's just slide down and open this up. Let me adjust the camera a bit here. And let's see. Now that the plastic is off, this can just slide up. Whoa. So right there we have the enclosure. Remember, this is not a drive. This is an enclosure that a drive goes into. Wow. All right, let's see what else is in the box here. So that's the enclosure. All right, we have a USB Type-C to Type-C cable. That's cool. And I like the length because, if you're taking this, let's say, portable in like a bag, like a laptop bag, you don't need a long cable. This is actually a really good length. But in addition, we have a USB Type-C to USB Type-A cable, which is shrink wrapped for some reason. Here we go. So if your computer doesn't have USB Type-C, or you want to use this with between two computers, let's say one has Type-C, one doesn't, you can use this cable to connect to a computer that only has Type-A. So you have both options here. It's cool that both cables are in the box. We have some screws for screwing down the drive once it's inside the enclosure. We have a booklet or two. And this is really cool. They actually included a little screwdriver in the box. I think that's pretty unique. That's pretty cool that they put that in there. I have a small screwdriver somewhere, but hey, you get this. Who wants to go hunting for their small screwdriver? If you're disorganized or something, it's cool that it comes right in the box like that to accommodate these little screws. This little booklet says, "Thank you for choosing ORICO." Okay, nothing special there. So this has some information about the product. Again, this is the PCM2-C3. It's an NVMe M.2 SSD. So this side is all in Chinese, and this side is in English. So it tells you here, let's see, installation guide. Slide the bottom case towards the end of the Type-C connector. So let's see, let's look at this drive actually. And I'm saying drive, it's really an enclosure. It's really nice. It's like a solid piece of aluminum. So it says to slide it. Okay, so that's slid. Is it away from the USB port? Oh, okay. So that's now apart. Let me adjust the camera a bit more here. So this is apart, and there's two pads here, sticky pads. I don't know if that's for, those are probably thermal as well, so it'll hold the drive down, but also it should help with cooling because this is just like a big piece of aluminum. Remove the bottom case, and the PCBA motherboard. Yeah, I mean, it actually, the board comes out? No, I think it's just saying, all right, so I think it's just, oh, does it? Oh, it actually does look like you're supposed to take out the board. Am I reading that correctly? I don't know why that's necessary. It shows here that you take the board out. All right, but how do you get it out? Let's say. You know what? I'm gonna leave that in. I don't know why that has to come out, so let's leave that in for right now. So it says insert the M.2 NVMe SSD into the interface, install the stud, fix the SSD disk by locking the fixing screw. Yeah, I don't know why the board has to come out. Why can't I just put the drive in here? I'm gonna try that first. Let's try that first, folks. I don't know why they want me to take this board out. I have here, fresh from the factory, this is a new SSD, never used. Let's go ahead and test this with the ORICO Enclosure. This is a new SSD, a Barracuda from Seagate. It is a PCI Express G3 X4, so Gen 3 X4 NVMe, 512 gigabytes, very nice. So see, here's what I'm thinking, folks. So when we have these in here, I don't know why there's multiple screws, but let's see. Here's what I'm thinking we need to do, is just put one of these on here, slide this in, put it down, right? And does it just then screw right in? Will that be long enough? Let's see. Oops. Let me see what the booklet says here. So it says the fixture from the back of the PCBA. Oh, from the back of the PCBA. Oh, yes. Okay. So you're supposed to, yeah. All right. That makes sense now. Okay. So you have to screw it in through the back of the motherboard. All right. So let's take the board out. So it was true. Okay. So yes, the instructions were correct. You need to take the board out. Oops. Leaning on my lamp and turning down the brightness. All right. So we're going to put the drive in. We're going to snap that in. We're going to put this on. And through the back, we're going to screw on a screw. So I think we're just going to use one of these small ones. There's small ones and long ones. Let's see. I'm guessing the longer screw will be for the outside to close the enclosure. Let's see. I have kind of small, stubby fingers. Let's see. Right on the thermal pad, of course. All right. Screw that in. All right, perfect. So now the drive is connected to the board. So now we're going to put the board back in, like so, without breaking it, hopefully. Okay, the Type-C goes in first. Just read the instructions before I put it in. Align the Type-C interface and insert the PCBA motherboard into the aluminum case. Okay, so I want to make sure I'm doing everything correctly. There we go. So that's snapped down. So the drive is nice and secure in here. Now we're going to put the lid back on, like so, and slide it. And the last step, which I really like, because there's other enclosures that are like toolless, where this is kind of toolless, you could leave it like this. However, I would say, you know, I'd rather have this nice and secure with a screw. Now, again, there's two sets of screws here. I think maybe this one was supposed to be used on the inside. I'm going to use another one of these little ones, because it looks like the little one will be fine here. And we're going to screw in the little screw, and again, I have little tiny fingers here. Okay, here we go. Nice. So now we have, what have we built ourselves here? We have a 512 gigabyte NVMe SSD, very fast, in an all aluminum enclosure. And this enclosure should handle cooling as well, because those thermal pads will go right against the SSD. Heat will then be transferred to the case itself, to the enclosure itself. Very nice design, very, very nice. Let's see the Type-C cables too. So one of my things I like about USB Type-C cables is for them to be a solid piece of metal. I don't want to see a seam, which usually signifies that it's cheap. These both have no seams. So this would plug in here, nice and tight and secure. And then this would plug into your computer. Now this will work with USB, so it's USB 3.1 Gen 2. But it'll be backwards compatible as well with, like, if you have a Gen 1 port on your computer, that'll work as well. This will work with a Thunderbolt 3 port as well, because Thunderbolt 3 is backwards compatible, or also compatible, I should say, with USB Type-C. Same connection type, and also will interface with USB. But in comparison, a Thunderbolt, if you had a Thunderbolt drive like this, it would not work with USB. It would only work with Thunderbolt. So this is nice that it'll work with. This will definitely work with all new Macintosh computers that have USB Type-C. So if you have a MacBook Pro, a MacBook Air that only has those Thunderbolt 3 ports, this will work fine on it. If you have a Windows machine that has only USB-C port, this will work fine with it. If you have a computer that only has USB Type-A, guess what? All you do is plug this cable in instead to the USB Type-C port on the drive, and then this goes into your computer. So it's a very versatile, nice little drive. I like the size, I like the look, I like the feel. Isn't it really pretty? The branding is not obnoxious, it's just the ORICO brand right on top. A single screw keeps the enclosure closed. USB Type-C port is nice and flush and beautiful. We can see here some writing. Again, it just says ORICO NVMe M.2 SSD. Has the model input, 5 volts, 900 milliamps, ORICO Technologies, and the website is orico.cc. So that is the unboxing, folks, of the ORICO, and again, I'll put the product name right there, the PCM2-C3, and I will put a link to where to buy this on Amazon. I believe it's pretty competitively priced, and I gotta be honest, it's really, really nicely designed. I can't wait to give this a go and try it connected to my MacBook as well as my Windows machine. Alright, thank you so much for watching my video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I apologize if I talked too long, talked too much, or if I was a little funky putting in the screw and wasting some time. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.